All right, today we're jumping into a legal rule that can seem a little weird at first glance, but trust me, it's absolutely critical to how our entire justice system tries to get to the truth. We're talking about the rule against hearsay.
So a high-stakes trial and a kid's playground game, what on earth do they have in common? I know it sounds like a weird setup for a joke, but the answer actually gets to the heart of one of the most fundamental rules of evidence. Yep, you guessed it. It all comes down to that game of telephone. You know how it goes, right? One person whispers a secret, and by the time it gets to the end of the line, it's something totally different and usually hilarious. But in a courtroom, that same distortion isn't funny at all. It can have life-altering consequences.
So to make sure that doesn't happen, the legal system has what it considers its gold standard for evidence. It's all about getting the story straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Let's dig into what that actually looks like.
And here it is, direct testimony. This is the bedrock. It's when a witness gets on the stand, raises their hand, and says something like, I personally saw the car run the red light. No, someone told me. No, I heard that. Just what they saw, what they heard, what they experienced themselves. It's the purest form of evidence you can get.
Okay, but wait a minute. Just because someone says they saw it, how do we know they're telling the truth? Or even that they remember it correctly? I mean, people make mistakes, right? Well, the legal system has a built-in lie detector. Or maybe a truth tester is a better way to put it. It's called cross-examination, and it is a powerful, powerful tool.
And this is where things get really interesting. Cross-examination isn't just about catching someone in a lie. It's about testing the very foundation of their testimony. Take observation, for example. A lawyer can start asking questions like, how good is your eyesight? Were you wearing your glasses that day? Or, what time was it? Was it dark? Was it raining? Were there cars honking? Anything else going on that might have distracted you? They're literally testing the witness's ability to have seen what they claimed they saw.
And then you've got recollection. I mean, we all know human memory is a tricky thing, right? It's not a perfect recording. So cross-examination pokes and prods at that. A lawyer might ask, how long ago did this happen? Or, have you talked to anyone else about this? Has your story maybe changed a little since then? They're looking for those little inconsistencies, those places where a memory might have been, let's say, enhanced over time.
Finally, you have narration and sincerity. This is all about how the story is told. Does the witness get flustered when asked to tell the story backwards? Do they seem shifty under pressure? See, being on that stand, in public, with a lawyer scrutinizing your every word, that's intense. And the fear of being exposed, not to mention the very real threat of perjury, is a huge reason why we put so much faith in this kind of direct testimony.
Okay, so that's the gold standard. That's what the court wants to see. But what happens when the person who actually saw the event isn't the one sitting in the witness chair? What happens when we get the stories secondhand? Well, that, my friends, is where we run smack into the rule against hearsay. And this right here is the absolute key to understanding the problem. Look at the difference. With a direct witness, you can cross-examine them about the actual event. But with a hearsay witness, they're basically a brick wall. You can ask them, are you sure that's what Bob told you? And they can say, yes, 1,000 times. But you can't ask them anything about what Bob actually saw. You can't test Bob's eyesight or his memory or if he was telling the truth. That vital connection, that link back to the event itself, is just gone. It's a dead end. So now think back to that game of telephone. The dangers aren't just added together, they're multiplied. Every single potential for a mistake, seeing it wrong, remembering it wrong, telling it wrong, all of that is now doubled up. And it's all happening off stage, outside the courtroom, where we have zero ability to test any of it. Exactly. So you end up with this incredibly weak chain of evidence. We have no idea if the original person actually saw it correctly. We don't know if they remembered it right. We have no clue if they described it clearly or if they were even being honest in the first place. And again, the person on the stand can't help us with any of that. They're just the messenger, and we can't question the source. All right, so because of all these dangers, all these weak links in the chain, the legal system created this big, bright-line rule, no hearsay. But the reasons go a little deeper than just that. Let's take a look at some of the other key arguments for the ban. So this table lays it out pretty well. A big argument against hearsay is that it's not given under oath, in that serious, solemn courtroom setting. It's often just gossip, something said casually over coffee. And we all know how stories can morph and change every time they're retold. But, and this is a huge but, look at that last point. What if that secondhand story is the only evidence you have? The rule can sometimes mean that relevant, maybe even true information gets thrown out. It creates this real tension, this difficult choice between allowing potentially shaky evidence or having no evidence at all.
Okay, so After all that, let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? Why should we care about this seemingly technical legal rule?
When you boil it all down, the rule against hearsay isn't some arbitrary technicality designed to hide the truth. It's the opposite. Think of it as a quality control filter for the justice system. Its whole purpose is to screen out information that can't be put to the test, that can't be scrutinized under cross-examination. It's there to make sure that the decisions that can change people's lives forever are based on the strongest, most reliable evidence we can possibly get.
But that brings us back to that fundamental tension, doesn't it? The rule is a trade-off. It forces us to ask a really tough question. Does a strict rule like this always protect the truth? Or are there times when it might actually hide it? It's a fascinating balance between having clear rules and the messy, complicated search for what really happened. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.